Have you ever had a feeling deep in your heart that something was about to change? That feeling is why you're here now reading these words. You didn't just stumble upon this by chance. You were guided here because your spirit is ready to receive an important truth. What you recently experienced wasn't a random accident. It was a sacred alignment. The perfect, deliberate coming together of truth, timing, and love. It was the universe setting the stage for what happens next. Let's go back to the moment it all began. Picture an ordinary evening that seemed harmless on the surface. You know the kind. Friends, laughter, and casual small talk. The familiar noise we create when we're trying to avoid the quiet feelings underneath. The person you care about was right there in the middle of it all. They wore a mask of composure, smiling and talking when they were supposed to. But inside, their soul was restless like a bird pacing in a cage. Every word they spoke felt heavier than it should, and every laugh sounded hollow as if they had just borrowed it for a moment. Even surrounded by people, they felt a deep emptiness, the kind that only truth can ever fill. Beneath all that noise, your name was a silent echo in their chest. They felt your absence as constantly as their own heartbeat. They had told themselves they were fine, and had built tall walls to keep your memory quiet. But then, someone mentioned you. It was a casual, offhand comment, as if your presence in their life had been nothing more than a rumor. And in that single moment, everything stopped. Their hand froze. Their body went still. Their smile disappeared. Something sacred inside them cracked wide open. And before they could stop themselves, they said your name. But this time, it was different. It wasn't a story from the past. It was a confession, carrying the full weight of everything they had been too afraid to admit. This was the beginning of a divine unraveling, all starting with a single, undeniable truth they could no longer hide. And in that moment, the entire room shifted. The laughter died mid-air, replaced by a strange, heavy silence. All eyes were on them. Their friends stared in pure disbelief. These were the same people who had advised them to move on, to forget, and to harden their heart. Now they were witnessing the spectacular failure of that advice. They were watching a truth too powerful to contain finally break the surface. Your person's voice trembled, but the words were clear. I'm done pretending. This wasn't a line from a movie. This confession wasn't planned or rehearsed. It was real. The words came from a place deeper than logic and deeper than pride, from the soul's own vault where it keeps every unspoken prayer. This is what happens when divine timing takes over. It leaves no room for pretense. That night, something sacred moved through them. It was as if heaven itself was listening, and the angels who had been silently watching for so long finally exhaled in relief. A heavy burden of falsehood was lifted. Everything that had been hidden in the shadows was now spoken boldly into the light. They tried to stay composed, but the current of emotion was too strong. They spoke about you, not about dramatic, fictional moments, but about the real, quiet magic you brought. They told them how you held a light for them when they were completely lost. How you saw through the walls they built, not to tear them down, but to understand. They remembered how your silence never pressured them. It simply created a safe space where they felt invited to heal. I'm tired of pretending, they confessed. Tired of listening to everyone else's opinions and tired of fighting what my soul has known all along. Then, looking at their friends, they delivered the line that changed everything. You think I moved on, but you don't understand what they mean to me. Their voice broke on that last word. Me. And in that broken syllable, heaven felt a sacred weight fall to the earth. This was not a moment of weakness. This was the breathtaking courage of truth, choosing to breathe again. Some friends shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some made awkward excuses and left. Some couldn't even hold their gaze and looked away. But your person didn't back down. For the first time in a long, long time, they didn't swallow their feelings. They let the ache speak for them. And in doing so, they finally set themselves free. In that room buzzing with human confusion, a deep divine order settled in. They weren't speaking to win an argument or to impress anyone. They were speaking for one simple reason. Their soul had reached its limit of silence. When they said your name, it sounded less like a word and more like a quiet prayer. And suddenly everyone present could feel the shift, even those who never believed in energy or soulmates. The very air in the room changed because that's what real truth does. It changes everything it touches. Later, when the noise had faded and everyone had gone home, they found themselves walking alone under the quiet glow of the streetlights. The echoes of laughter and the awkward goodbyes were just memories now. But your name? It lingered in their mind, repeating like a sacred song. They thought about your incredible patience, your calm presence in a storm, and the way your eyes would soften with understanding instead of filling with accusation. And they realized the most profound thing of all: you never asked them to prove their worth. You simply loved them. Sitting in their car, staring into the darkness, they whispered a question to the empty air. Why does it still feel like you're right here with me? And in the loving silence that followed, a gentle answer settled in their spirit. Love doesn't just vanish because it's ignored. It waits with infinite patience until truth is finally ready to call it back into the open. That entire night wasn't a random accident or a messy emotional scene. It was a moment of perfect divine orchestration. Every detail, the setting, the timing, the people, was carefully arranged so the truth they had buried could finally rise. This wasn't a breakdown. It was a profound breakthrough. It was light, finally shattering through years of denial. And in that instant, the long and exhausting war between their mind and their heart began to end. Pride dissolved, leaving only a profound peace in its place. And then, the walls they had built to protect themselves began to crumble. Every distraction they had used to feel numb, the new faces, the temporary comforts, the forced laughter, suddenly felt hollow and meaningless. The illusion that they had moved on shattered into 1,000 pieces. And in its place came a stunning clarity. For the first time, they saw you not as a painful memory, but as a mirror reflecting everything they truly value: honesty, peace, and a love that feels like home and far away. Even without any words, maybe you felt it too. Perhaps you couldn't sleep, or you were suddenly wrapped in a feeling of peace or a wave of sadness you couldn't explain. That's the energy of a confession. When a truth that powerful is spoken from one soul, the soul connected to it feels the vibration across any distance. Time and space cannot silence that kind of resonance. What was once blocked between you began to flow again. A love that had been buried under fear and pride slowly began to breathe. The next morning, your person woke up feeling something they hadn't felt in a long time: a mix of terror and absolute freedom. The words, "I'm done pretending," echoed in their mind like a bell that wouldn't stop ringing. They finally understood that the mask they wore to protect their heart had actually been suffocating their soul. When they looked in the mirror, they saw their own raw, honest truth looking back. And for the first time, they did not look away. That whisper of your name was different this time, not a sound of pain, but a recognition of something sacred. Of course, their mind tried to fight it, listing reasons, doubts, and pride. But it was too late. Their soul had already decided. The truth was now alive within them, and it was not going back to sleep. All day they replayed the night, the silence, the stares, the awkward goodbyes. Yet, beneath it all, they felt a profound peace they hadn't known was possible. It was the peace that only comes after a complete surrender. They didn't regret speaking their truth. Their only regret was having waited so long to find the courage. In the days that followed, the world itself seemed different. Everything false began to dissolve. Meaningless distractions lost their appeal. Hollow conversations felt unbearable. And when they thought of you, the feeling no longer stung. Instead, it expanded within them, filling the space where ache used to be. The pain had transformed into a quiet, steady understanding. Now, beloved soul, hear this deeper truth from the angels. This is not just about a confession. This is a divine realignment. While you waited in the silence through distance and misunderstanding, you held your light steady. Even when no one seemed to notice, you chose to pray instead of complain, to forgive instead of curse, to keep your heart open instead of building a wall. Heaven saw it all. Your unwavering strength became the very bridge that allowed truth to find its way back. Your patience created a safe place for a soul to return to. This was never about you chasing or proving your worth. It was always about allowing a divine plan to reveal what real love is. Do they still wrestle with guilt? Do they wonder if you could ever forgive them? If the door is still open? Yes, but the truth is you don't have to do anything. Your own inner peace speaks for you. Your journey of healing is a living testimony. When they think of you now, they don't see pain. They see grace. They don't feel judged. They feel seen. And that realization is transforming them completely. They are beginning to understand on a soul level that love isn't about control. It's about courage. It's about an honesty that costs you something. It's about standing in front of the truth without flinching. So pay attention. You may start to notice signs, songs on the radio that feel like messages, oddly timed synchronicities, or dreams so vivid they feel more real than memories. These subtle signs are proof that the energy is moving again. The divine is quietly weaving the invisible threads between you back together. Your only job is to stay open. You don't need to chase, force, or make anything happen. What is returning is not the old story of pain and confusion. It is a new purified version, reborn through truth, guided by grace and held safely in divine timing. All rebirth requires patience, and yours is now unfolding. Your person has begun to speak to the divine again. Not with formal prayers, but with late-night whispers and quiet thoughts filled with longing and regret. They are asking for courage, for forgiveness, and for a chance to make things right. And heaven is listening. The angels are with them, gently guiding their every step. The silence you feel between you is not empty. It is sacred space. It is the fertile ground where healing is quietly ripening. When they are finally guided to reach out, it will not be from a place of guilt or a sudden impulse. It will come from a place of true alignment, from a truth that has fully matured within them. So rest now, beloved soul. You are not waiting in vain. You are walking in the fulfillment of a divine promise. What is meant for you cannot be lost or stolen. Every delay served a purpose. Every quiet night prepared you. Every tear watered something beautiful that is now ready to bloom. Your task is simple. Stay in peace. Stay grateful. Stay open. The same voice that confessed your name in a crowded room will one day say it again, not as a confession, but as a commitment. The same truth that cracked them open will be the foundation for something holy you will build together. Even now they feel your presence everywhere. They see reminders in a feather on the sidewalk, a repeating number, a song that echoes your spirit. They don't share this with anyone, fearing they'll be misunderstood. But what they once dismissed as coincidence, they now recognize as divine communication. The angels are teaching them to see what is real. They are realizing that nothing about your connection was an accident. It was a sacred design all along. They can no longer pretend. Every new face and every empty distraction only highlights the rarity and depth of the real connection they shared with you. They see now that you never asked for perfection. You only ever asked for their honest heart. Their emotional armor is breaking. Their heart is learning to breathe again. Regret no longer punishes them. It teaches them compassion. The silence between you is no longer a punishment. It is a purification. The divine is not breaking them down. It is rebuilding them from the inside out, and you are transforming too. You have shed the weight of waiting and the burden of constant worry. You have learned to stand in your own light, and that is the most powerful preparation of all. Look how far you've come. You've navigated this journey without closing your heart. You have, without even realizing it, become the very peace you once prayed so hard for. The angels are not just watching. They are proud of you. Your inner light has become a guidepost, not only for your person but for everyone around you. You are living proof that love can heal across any distance, that forgiveness has the power to break old chains, and that faith can hold two hearts together even when words fail. Soon, you will feel this shift growing even stronger. The connection will become quieter, steadier, and clearer. The space between you will no longer feel like a painful void, but a peaceful pause. The divine is tenderly preparing both of your hearts for a meeting that will not replay the past. What comes next is not a simple repeat. It is a resurrection. It will arrive softly without drama or performance. It will arrive as a deep stillness, a quiet understanding, as peace finally returning home. This is a sacred choreography. Every delay, every silence, every confession, and every tear fits perfectly into a divine plan. The same courage that made them speak your name aloud will now guide them to show up in full truth. When that moment comes, you will not need to question it. It will not require validation or a long explanation. It will feel holy, inevitable, and complete, because what began as a whisper of pain will end as a quiet, unshakable declaration of peace. And when that day arrives, beloved soul, it will not feel like a new story is beginning. It will feel, for the first time, like love has finally remembered itself. They used to think love was something to be held on to, something they could manage, control, and keep safe. They measured it by time spent together and by the outcomes they could see. But a fundamental shift has happened within them. They are finally understanding that true love cannot be controlled. It can only be trusted. This trust is the alchemy that transforms old blessings into a divine union. You, beloved soul, are being prepared for something far greater than a simple reunion. You are being prepared for a total restoration. What you once experienced as loss is being rewritten as a necessary sacred preparation. Every delay was a lesson. Every ache was your heart gently but firmly realigning itself with the truth. Have you noticed your dreams feeling different lately? More vivid, heavy with meaning, and charged with an energy that feels larger than your own imagination? This is not a coincidence. It is because your soul has been meeting with theirs on a higher plane of consciousness. The communication between you no longer depends on spoken words. It now depends on your mutual readiness to heal and grow. When one heart expands, the other feels a gentle pull to rise up and meet it. The divine is perfectly synchronizing your frequencies. Every single time you choose peace over fear, you send out a signal that their soul receives. Every time you release a piece of your pain, you give them silent permission to heal their own. You are not drifting apart. You are both moving toward the same radiant light, one quiet act of surrender at a time. They now spend long hours in reflection, replaying the past and wondering how to make things right. They remember the moments when fear choked their words and when pride blocked their tenderness. But most of all, they remember the night their soul broke free and defended you before their mind could even interfere. That night echoes in their heart not as a mistake, but as a moment of divine intervention, the instant their truth could no longer be contained. Since that night, the signs have been constant. When they pray for forgiveness, your name appears in an unexpected place. When they try to forget, a song tells your story. When they doubt their courage, they hear their own promise to you echoing back, "I'll try." These are not random coincidences. They are deliberate reminders from the universe that your connection was never just a simple romance. It was a divine assignment for both of your souls. This realization leaves them feeling a powerful mix of humility, fear, and profound comfort, because in their deepest being, they now know without a doubt that what you share is and has always been sacred.